And then I sold an $18 million property down in Miami during COVID when one of my big New York clients wanted to buy in Miami. And then I got a call from Ryan Serhant. And as soon as I got that call, I'm like, this guy is crazy because he's been doing this $1 million listing thing for a long time. And I know that if he's going to move and start his own company, there's got to be something bigger than $1 million listing. So I made a calculated decision to join Ryan as one of his founding agents, one of the first people to join the company. And that is what allowed me to get into the room at the beginning when we were interviewing with NBC Universal for Peacock or Hulu or Netflix. We interviewed with all of them. I was there for every single round of all of these interviews. And the day came when Ryan was like, hey, Netflix chose us. And that was a beautiful day for me because I knew all of the work that I put in to go and be on a Bravo TV show, to get pushed in the lake, to get almost fired, to do all those things. I learned all of the things that I needed to learn to put myself into the position to win and crush the interview with Ryan. And then season one started to happen with Netflix, and I just felt very, very prepared and at home. And it all really worked out. I love Bravo as a network, and I love Andy Cohen. So it was just a really, really big honor for me to be on the show, and it really set me up for major success in my career.
You're like, how many times does can't get away come up in your daily life? You're like, okay. How so you watched Million Dollar Listing. Like, how different was Ryan when you met him? Like, you had seen the first season, and then you said you were going to watch it again until you were on, and then you were on it. But like, was Ryan the same? Was he different than you expected?
I think Ryan was a little cocky in the first couple seasons of $1 Million Listing. And, I didn't really watch too much, to be honest. Maybe I'd see like a commercial or I followed him on Instagram, right? But I really wasn't like, I knew that's where I was going to end up at some point. But like, I was like, I'm going to make it on my own and I'm going to make Ryan kind of call me, which is what happened. So when I met him in person, it was funny because all he kept saying was he didn't know all the specifics. It was so early. All he could say is video content, video content, sell more real estate than anybody else in the world. And he just kept saying that. And I was like, I don't even know what this means, but I'm on board. And it was just like a lot of love and a lot of positive energy right off the bat. I didn't think he was, as cocky as maybe season one or season two of $1 Million Listing had. He just started a company. I met him in 2020 in the depths of COVID. He was uncertain just as much as maybe I was uncertain. And I think that was very humanizing. I see Ryan as a human. I don't see him as like this big personality. I see him as more like a brother now. Obviously, we've been working together for almost 5 years, and we've been in the trenches filming TV and doing all that stuff together, closing mega deals. And it's been tremendous. But I think the biggest takeaway I would say about working here at Serhant and with Ryan is that he's an authentic guy. What you see is what you get. He's on point. He doesn't have too much time for like, fluff or nonsense because he's probably the most busy person I've ever met in my entire life. But, he's a real one and he's super authentic, and it's just an honor to be working with him.
How important is social media and video in real estate now? Because, and like, has the industry caught up? If you look at your competitors, because that is, you do a lot of it. Ryan does a lot of it. We've seen it on season one. We see it throughout season two.
Yeah, I would say that social media is imperative for the year that we're in, specifically for this business, real estate specific. I mean, every business you have to have a media component, okay? But for real estate, what we need to be doing at all times is creating awareness with our entire network. And I could go make 500 phone calls to create that awareness, and we do, don't get me wrong, but also I can make one reel that will reach 500,000 people. So it doesn't mean that those 500,000 people are going to actually do a deal with me, but it's about creating the awareness. And then if you drip that awareness out over time, eventually that starts creating a funnel in and of itself. I'll give you one case study because sometimes people don't believe me. When they say, "Oh, do these videos work?" Sometimes a seller might be sitting with me and they're like, "Are you just a TikToker?" And I'm like, "Let me give you one case study. I sold an $8.5 million penthouse on Fifth Avenue with one of the biggest real estate developers in all of America. He was the owner of the property. I sold his estate. He passed. And I made a property tour video. Okay. What I did with this property tour video was I stood on the terrace and I put one of the lapel mics and I told the gentleman from Serhant Studios to put a drone in the air. And I was going to start the video while the drone was coming in on me onto the terrace. And then I go like this, and then it goes out over Central Park. If you can imagine that. The
Yeah.
address is 30 East 85th Street. So I did that as like an opening hook. And after marketing the property for 6 months, I got a phone call. Hey, Nile, I saw your video on YouTube. I want to buy the place. And I was like,
Right. Like, who is this?
who is this? And she's like, oh, my name is Heidi. I live in Arizona. I'm gonna be in town. All right, sounds good. Send me some more information on you. We'll go from there. I actually couldn't make the showing, so my partner Samir Vogan did the showing for me, and he called me and he said, "Hey, I'm here with Heidi," and I said, "Oh, okay, what's up?" He goes, "She just made an all cash offer on the spot." I was like, dude, I need proof of funds. Like, he's like, I already have it. I was, say that again? He's like, no, I already have it. She doesn't need to see much because she already saw the video. And she had all of her friends. They were on a trip to New York, hanging out, drinking martinis. They came to the place. They gave the offer. They gave proof of funds. They're all hanging out. This is where our next place is going to be. This is so great. And that was when I became a believer. I was like, okay. And we ended up selling the property. And it was just very, very thrilling to know that that kind of effort is number one, great for the wide awareness, but then also it's targeting that one person. I don't need 5 million people to see the video. I need one person to come in and then buy it. And it happened. And ever since then, I've been a very big advocate of the social media and the videos because it works. I mean, it doesn't work on every property, but you know what? If it does, that's amazing. And it's a marketing tool and a technique that I don't think many people can achieve on a very high level. And I'm very proud to do it here at Serhant and work with Serhant Studios to do it.
Well, my passion is real estate. We were talking about that a little before we logged on. Like, where is, I mean, I could talk real estate all day in New York. I know the buildings, like, it's just, we all have our hobbies, right? Not that I'm suggesting your job is a hobby because it's one of the most difficult jobs in the world, trust me. But where is the state of the market now? Like, is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Is there any deals to be had in New York? I always assume there isn't.
Well, let's talk about the rental market first. The rental market in general is at all-time highs with very low occupancy. Uh, I think it's very challenging for people to be mobile in the city. Usually, they will be a renter and then they'll turn into a buyer. But right now, because rates are still high, right? And renters, if they move, they're going to pay a 15% bump from whatever they were paying before. So there's a lot of people staying put, which means that there's not too much inventory out there. So then moving to the sales side, we represent a lot of new developers.